Welcome back, everybody, to the Who's Accountable podcast. I'm the creator and the host of this platform, Mahaya Abdul Kawi, as well as a founder and representative of the Accountability Party for Human Rights. Who I am and what this organization is, we are a collection of individuals who have chosen the path of self growth, self evolution, to truly level up. And while being on that path of self evolution, we have chosen the mission to provide resources and services to the working class people across this country. We stand for the people, by the people, and with the people. This podcast is a way for myself and other members of the party to shine a light on those who are actively working against the working class people, the corruption and the evil that is tainting our society, that is fueling the ego of society. It is those who are a part of the Accountability Party for Human Rights. It is our mission to fight against this while also giving the people, the oppressed people, a fighting chance to live out a normal life. So I would like to welcome everybody who has seen my previous content, who has been keeping up with what I've been doing. I would like to welcome you guys back. For those who are just now tuning in, welcome to this. And I would like to go in. So for this episode, I would like to talk about the class war, which is something that we talk about a lot on this channel, on this platform. The class war is the elites versus the working class. And when I say the working class, that is a general term that I am applying for those who are in the upper middle class, the lower class, and then the poor class. If you fit within this spectrum, you are part of the working class. You have a boss, and you provide your labor force, your energy, your value to help somebody else make money. Even if you make more money than your fellow working class man, that is only because you have either worked hard enough or brown-nosed enough to rise up in the ranks of the elites. Talking about the managerial class, a little subgroup of the working class. These people are those who essentially become generals for the elites, in that they help force these guidelines and procedures and these different tactics to constantly keep anybody that's lower in the working class lower. So this class war is a war that has been going on since the beginning of this country, going back to when the 13 colonies were here. And the class war embodies everybody. It's not something that is only, race is only a part of the class war. Race is a tool implemented by the elites to keep us separated. The lower class is embodied by those who are African American, white, Asian American, Latino American, Hispanics. It is not just one, even though society has portrayed that the working class, that the lower class is majority the majority is black and brown and yellow. But to the whites, you also fall in this. Since the beginning, you fell into this. Back when the European elites would come over and establish their towns and their governments and their territories, along with Native American servants, along with bringing over the African American slaves, at this time, the African slaves, they had poor European servants. And guess who was forming alliances? The Native Americans, the Africans, and the poor Europeans. Because they recognized that they were all being treated the same regardless of what they looked like. That they were brought to this land, or to the natives, they had their land taken, and were being oppressed. And even if they had an opportunity to get out, for them to live successfully was still clashed with by rules and those who enforce the rules for the upper class. A big point of this channel and a big aim of the Accountability Party is to help the people truly understand and recognize that this is a class war. And with everything that is currently happening, with the new Cold War pretty much occurring as we speak between us and China and everybody else involved, even though they haven't outright said it yet, that is where we are at. Pretty soon, within the next 5 years, we're not going to be going to war over oil anymore. We're going to be going to war over water, fresh water. It's becoming limited. Climate change is making it even more limited than what it was before. And do you think that the working class people have a chance to even survive with all this amounting on top of each other, and your president telling you lies that we're going back to normal or that this is all going to be fixed? That's a bunch of bullshit. And it's important that the working class people know this. And for those that don't believe that this is a class war and that you are not being targeted against, and that you don't have everything in this system placed to make it harder for you while making it easier for those who have cheated their way, or for their friends and families who reap the benefits of those cheaters. If you still don't believe that, look at your pop culture. Since the culture wars want to become a factor into this, even though they really don't dictate anything at all. The culture wars. Let's talk about something about culture, right? Let's look at how Bill Cosby, a man who since 1965 to 2008 has had over 60 cases of sexual assault, sexual misconduct, sexual battery assault, and child sexual abuse. Most of the alleged acts fall outside the statute of limitations for criminal legal proceedings. But the criminal charges, while filed against Cosby, the charges that were brought against Cosby in one case and numerous civil lawsuits were brought against him. As of November 2015, 8 related civil suits were active against him. Gloria Alfred represented 33 of the alleged victims. In 2015, the court records were unsealed and released to the public from Andrea Constance in the 2005 civil suit against Cosby. In the transcript of his deposition, when it was released to the public, he admitted to casual sex involving recreational use of sedative, hypnotic methaquilone quaaludes with a series of young women, and he acknowledged that his dispensing of the drug was illegal. It wasn't until this year that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court found that an agreement with a previous prosecutor prevented Cosby from being charged in the case and overruled the conviction. The Supreme Court's decision prevents him from being tried on the same charges a third time after being tried twice prior. Now, I don't want to get too involved in that side of culture and society in terms of when it comes to the topic of sexual misconduct, rape, sexual assault. I'm somebody that believes in, if the act has happened with enough proof, prosecute those who are the criminals. And that includes if there's proof that somebody lied, the victim lying about the assaulter, they should be in prison. If the person did commit the crime of rape or whatever, they should be prosecuted and sent to prison. And I'm only letting that be known now because I'm not going to touch into other cases or anybody else. I know that there are a lot of men who would want to come to the defense of Cosby saying, oh, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And there would be people who would say I need to be more. But what I'm getting at, and the point of this video is saying, and this is especially towards a lot of Afro-Americans who, because Bill Cosby is a black man, they want to give him that pass that he didn't do anything wrong. Since 1964, this man has had cases. That's before most of the people who are online having an opinion about it were even born. And this man has a track record since then till the time we were literally kids. I'm sorry, but in his case, it doesn't matter if he's black or not. I don't care if he was yellow, green, purple. I don't give two flying F's about it. What is the problem, though, is that y'all so focused, the people who are feeding into this distraction are so focused on his color, trying to give him a pass. Look at the fact that he is a rich celebrity who is using his resources to finesse his way out of justice and accountability for the fact that he caused trauma for the 60 cases, 60 women that he caused trauma to. If it was 1, 2, that's where a further investigation again would definitely have to be needed. You passed 20, you passed 10. There's more than enough. Just admit it's okay to say, yo, we looked up to this man as a black cultural icon. But what we didn't know was that he was secretly letting us down until the fucking lid popped off. But because he has elite status, he was able to not only get out of prison, but he's now able to walk around free and probably still continue what he's doing in some form of way. And this man has the audacity to go on Twitter and talk politics about what the insurrection just so happened to be. I'm sorry, Bill Cosby, but your opinion is askew. Shut up. Meanwhile, we have what I would call an American hero, somebody that fought for the American people by making sure the American people had the truth. Julian Assange, somebody that doesn't have elite resources and connections to be able to get his way out. You know why? Because Julian Assange, the editor, publisher, activist, and founder of the infamous is synonymous with the truth website WikiLeaks. And after the 2010 leaks that he published on his site that was given to him, keyword, he didn't go out and hack into the system. It was given to him. And as a journalist, he shared his information. Chelsea Manning, who was a U.S. Army intelligence analyst, gave Assange information on the Baghdad airstrike, Afghanistan war logs, Iraq war logs, and Cablegate. The United States, after that, launched a criminal investigation into WikiLeaks. But this is where the class war gets hard for them at this moment. And mind you, this happened before Cosby was really in the public eye. So, so if they were happening at the same time, it would have been they kind of leaked, they kind of overlapped into one another. But this is where the class politics get very interesting, because immediately after Assange leaked out this information, major news publications that are puppets and tools to a lot of corporate and political power were so excited. They were so excited that they had real information finally after, having to be told to only talk about this. They had real information to leak. So they spread the word. But of course, when you're the puppet and the tool of a higher power, you can't step out of line. Unfortunately, they stepped out of line. So then the next day, the New York Times flipped the script from calling Assange this hero, this truth seeker that just spilled the whole thing, into a war criminal, a terrorist. Why? Because he believed that the American people needed the truth about what's really going on, where all of our taxpayer money is going towards, where since 2002, even to this day, we're being lied about what really is going on over there and how it's being done. That's evil. And this man is overseas to this day. Julian Assange is going through other countries trying to make sure that he still faces time, because that's what all the countries have morally said he needs to do. But at the same time, understand that if he comes back to the United States, he's either going to be killed, tortured, or be in prison literally until he dies for spreading the truth. While Bill Cosby, a pawn representative of the elites, is able to walk free. You got to see how race, it doesn't matter, because we have a black man who did the crime and a white dude who's doing the public an amazing service. And look at who they choose to focus on as the enemy. Talk about that, Biden. Talk about how your creepy ass, who already has a such track record, would rather focus on Julian Assange and really change the way we view freedom of speech now in this country. And instead of saying, you know what, whoa, maybe the federal courts need to get involved in this Bill Cosby case and make sure that because as a country, we need to represent that we have strong values and that we don't allow criminals, no matter of their race and class, that if you do a crime, you will face accountability. But he failed on that part, and he would rather let Julian Assange sleep on a cot, have his wife and his family, fiance and his family, really walk around trying to get public opinion and really spread the truth, because since 2010, there hasn't been any truth. And then they tried to use sexual allegations that were disproven. Because Bill Cosby hasn't been disproven, but in Assange cases, they have been disproven as intelligence tactics against him and his character, because they couldn't arrest him when all the puppet media outlets share the news. So what are you going to do? You can't arrest one person and not arrest the other, right? If this is all a crime. So they tried to put sexual allegations on Julian Assange, only to fail. It's been disproven. I want to highlight this as an example for those who just refuse to believe that this is a class war in every way, even down to the celebrity, even down to the culture wars that we think, progressives, and I know a lot of the millennials, a lot of them believe that, oh yeah, we can tweet and rant, protest this, and then we're going to force our cultural change on people. I'm sorry, but the cultural things that you're fighting for have already been pimped out and controlled by the powers that be. So let's focus on substantial things. Like the fact is, we're allowing race and these culture politics to tear us apart when we need to look at the class structure of this and how that is the deep underlining foundation to all the other problems. You have to look at a case where Bill Cosby walks free, but a freedom fighter like Julian Assange is being threatened with 175 years in prison. Look deeper into that, speak up about it, and keep fighting for the truth. Because if that's going to be his treatment, imagine what it's going to be like for a nobody like me, with an organization trying to fight for these same people, trying to give them this same truth. Anybody that is talking about what I'm talking about now, who's to say that we're not one news away from being like Julian Assange? Because we want to have truth? Because we want to make sure that those who are ruining the livelihood of others are held accountable? How are we the bad guys? Accountability is crucial if we are going to ensure that every human being can live out their God-given human rights. But if we're going to allow those to avoid accountability, avoid justice, you're setting a precedent for how this society works. And then you start to see how this trickle-down economics and trickle-down ego mentality is just a cancer that has, if not already, consumed all of society, man. But I heavily suggest, look more into the system that makes it where Julian Assange is a war criminal, and Bill Cosby is able to walk around and tweet as if there aren't 60 women who are still dealing with what he did. Whereas the American people are, if anything, better because of what Julian Assange did. Julian Assange did something that made the American people better. He gave us awareness, information. Bill Cosby brought down and fed into a mentality of human beings that gimme, 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 gimme. See, you got to understand too, a little sign up before I sign off. Those with wealth, when they commit crimes, is to feed in excess. But those who don't have wealth, crime for us is a necessity. And inshallah, the justice system that we have recognizes that. The more we speak up about it and call them out on the bullshit that they are implementing when they ignore these basic facts. Inshallah.